with the Republican Party as it is today. Carl, before the show started, Carl and I were talking about an argument he had with a conservative friend.
Yeah, friend. Yeah.
Where she brought up a verse in the New Testament where about Jesus telling his disciples to take up two swords or always carry two swords. And if you actually look at the verse and in the context, it's everybody bust out your New Testaments that you stole from that last hotel you were at. It's Luke 22:38 when the disciples said, "Lord, look, here are two swords," and he says to them, "It is enough." Which some interpretations, when he says "it is enough," they translate it as "enough of that." So it's what you're seeing is just a misinterpretation. They're making Ronald Reagan into a saint for a small portion of what he said and ignoring the stuff that actually made sense. So
right.
if they've for centuries people have been misinterpreting the Bible or any religious text to suit their own specific needs. So what's the difference between doing it to the Bible and doing it to a politician who lived
right.
within our lifetime? Fact checkers be damned. It doesn't matter what the facts are.
About, when you talk to people about religion and everything, it's been, you got the Pentecostals, you got Catholicism, you got the Lutherans, and and the Pentecostals don't like the Catholics.
Yeah.
And
we don't like them either.
Someone said, "Well, we're more. Mary was more important than
Jesus."
And it's like it's all these. It is nothing but a huge misinterpretation. I mean, I went to a funeral the other day, and while I'm out here in Denver, that's where I came. And, you got some guys that want to hear the pastor hoop and holler and do cartwheels and have the women jump up and shake and have their, scream, "Hey, praise Jesus, the Lord." Then you got guys that I'd rather just teach and just, be more cool and, and it's crazy. So you don't know.
Yeah, the message gets lost in the delivery. But, on the interpretation, it's great. One of my friends, Oscar Sagastume, funny comic, and he sent me a quote that was pulled from President Obama's speech earlier this week. The quote was, "First graders, every time I think about those kids, it gets me mad." And of course, he's talking about, how someone went in and shot a bunch of first graders, and he's mad at that. But you look at the quote in this context, the man hates children, which, obviously we know isn't true. But that's the thing that people do, and both sides are guilty of it. I will admit, but we see it coming a lot more from the right is the misinterpretation of words, taking things out of context, and ignoring what's inconvenient to their agenda. And, so like I was saying earlier, as Marco Rubio said, yes, as Americans, we do have the right to be afraid. But, and you know what? No one's going to take that away from you except for you. Inform yourself, figure out what's actually going on, figure out what the people who are telling you stuff are trying to achieve, and maybe, if you follow their motivation and figure out what's happening, you'll be a little more informed. You'll be able to deal with these big bad facts.
Right. And now you have, it's funny, you have the battle of Marco Rubio, Ted Cruz, and Christie battling each other, and I'm sitting there going, man, but none of you guys are saying anything. You're saying, "Oh, we're going to stop all the terrorists, and we're going to do it," and you're losing to a blowhard. You're getting your butt kicked by a guy who was running a reality TV show. That tells you about our society. That's why I said freedom isn't for everybody, because we have a guy who is former, reality TV shows is about to win the presidency. What the hell?
Well, the nomination. let's
You
let's
never
deal with
know.
one nightmare at a time, Tymon.
Yeah.
No, okay. Sorry about that. I jumped the gun a little bit. But, you know.
But and of course the old cliche and conventional wisdom as it is in American elections is that, well, this is just the primary, and the crazy people come out during the primaries, but what will matter is what happens in the general election. And I think this is starting to turn into the grasshopper and the ant, where people are just enough. Well, it'll work itself out. It'll work itself out. And I think when it comes down to it, when the Republican convention happens, it'll be interesting to see who actually gets the nomination. Because I think the party is definitely afraid about Trump getting the nomination, but I think they also know that they can't be too obvious about gaming the system to make sure he doesn't.
Yeah. Well, even Clint Eastwood has come out and he says he'd take Trump over Obama. And
but that man talks to empty chairs.
Why would you expect anything different from Clint fucking Eastwood? I mean, come on.
I was shocked. Well, he talked to a chair. Yeah, well, you're right, Carl. He talked to a chair. Come on.
I mean, Clint Eastwood is 83, and he just talked to a chair 4 years ago. So, worrying about what his opinion on the election is kind of pointless.
Well, and that's one of the things that I do tend to love about the folks on the right is they will get all hot and bothered about liberal celebrities and the liberal Hollywood machine. What do these people know? They're just actors and they don't know anything about real politics. Now Clint Eastwood and James Woods, on the other hand, they know what they're talking about. Like, no, you don't get to have it both ways. And, Obama's a celebrity. Celebrities are idiots. Look at all these liberal celebrities. They're morons. Our guys, though, they're on spot. Clint Eastwood, genius. Political
Isn't
genius.
James Woods part of that too? James Woods is part of that.
Oh, James Woods. It's he's I think even as batshit crazy as Gary Busey. Only James Woods doesn't have a motorcycle accident and major head trauma to credit for that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, James. I mean, I don't know. He's been pretty out there for a long time, but. Yeah. So, do we want to move on to the last thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, North Korea this week, they claim that did they claim they launched, or did we?
They claim they had a successful underground test of a hydrogen bomb, and due to the seismic readings, we know that they did blow something right. They did blow something up underground, but. I don't think anybody believes it was actually a hydrogen bomb, and I don't know all the signs, but apparently hydrogen bombs much more dangerous than your regular nuclear bomb. Nuclear bombs explode. It's a fission reaction, whereas H bombs, it's a fusion reaction, much more energy. And again, not a scientist, can't explain it. Read about it on the internet, as I've been trying to do. But I think it's posturing. It's a load of crap. We know they blew something up, but I don't think anybody in their right minds believes it was actually an H-bomb, which explains why.
And so there again, Obama's being a punk, and then so he's not going after. Look, those crazy-ass North Koreans, but that dude, I mean, why would you believe somebody who sat up and killed everybody in his cabinet? It's like Stalin only in the Asian version. I mean, why would you listen to a guy who just wants attention? He's starving his people, and he just wants attention.
So he's literally starving for attention.
Yeah. I mean, killing his grandparents and anybody else that thinks. I mean, the guy's he's just a blowhard. And then here comes Rubin. We need to check him out, dude. He's been talking trash for years.
Yeah, and
so what? They want attention.
Well, and the issue of why don't we just take them out? Because it's more complicated than just taking them out. You have this whole area that is commonly known as South Korea that we kind of have to be careful about. You can't nuke North Korea because you're going to be taking out one of our allies, and we generally try not to do that.
Right.
Oh, I mean, I don't.
And also, China's pissed off too, because China doesn't like that they're over there causing problems. China's already having problems financially, which we already know they're going to implode. Which the Americans are going to help them implode, even though they took a lot of our debt. But we want to be back in charge. We would love to see those fuckers starve, so we can eventually get back in control of everything.
Yeah, and that's what's really interesting to me is that I just heard about this. Well, obviously the stocks were plummeting this week over the collapse in China. But man, I mean, they said that this gives us a huge advantage potentially in the trade deficit. It gets our jobs back as we're starting to boom. I'm not really sure why all the jobs would come flooding back in, but they're saying that there's a good chance that we're going to take back a bunch of jobs and give them, oh, God forbid, to Americans. And, but it's interesting. So since they hold so much of our debt, if they continue to suffer, we get stronger on these fronts, is there a risk of anything, or does this help us get the debt off our back, or what? Or do you know how it works? Or if they suffer, does everything screw us over as well?
Well, I think as we saw this week is that when their economy suffers, ours suffers in response. Whether I mean, of course, America is great at business, and I'm sure people know and are working on ways to leverage this to our advantage. So it is one of those things that I do have to claim ignorance on, but I do have faith that something is being done to make this work out in America's advantage.
Okay, one thing I hate about it is that we say one thing about China, but we're selling off our country to them left and right. Yeah. You already know one of the big Chinese companies is going to try to buy one of the big studios here in town. I mean, in L.A. So, they keep saying one thing, but one thing about that China has already been having financial problems because once capitalism got deploying there, the greed picked up there too, and they started having issues. They were snatching all the people out of the country. I mean, out of that live in the countryside, the farmers, and moving them to the city. Well, now a lot of those cities are just empty. The pollution is killing a lot of the things that they have there. They're having a hell of a lot of problems, which is the reason why they don't want people to know what's truly going on. Because they are imploding. They're having a lot of problems.
Well, and they're also in the past couple of weeks they've been essentially allegedly kidnapping people who oppose the Chinese government or speak out against it from Hong Kong. There have been a couple reports of people who have allegedly been kidnapped and taken over the border into mainland China. So yeah, they got issues, and I think we were this whole conversation kind of launched into China when we were talking about them being pissed off at Kim Jong-un in North Korea. They don't want the attention over there. They're they like to
you got two
we're doing our thing. Don't worry about us.
Don't want attention, but as much as they don't, you can't keep hiding it. They're going to get exposed, and eventually they're going to fall because they're not great at finances. The Americans built the system, and they know how to play the game as well as the British, and they would love it. Trust me, they would love to put a financial stronghold on China.
Oh, sure.
Oh, yeah.
And that way that would bring those jobs back to America. A lot of those jobs would come back, and they'd get them. And I wouldn't be surprised if they're not working right now to do it.
That's just another example of, just what a insane communist President Obama is, I mean, of course I'm kidding. I mean, I'm just saying that, this